So you want to start streaming, but you have no idea where to start? Then you're in the right place. This is a 10-day video series that I'm calling Streaming 101, Start Streaming in 10 Days. And I'm going to teach you almost everything that you need to know before you hit go live on Twitch. I'll give you a quick rundown on everything that we're going to cover in this series. We're going to talk about building your brand as a streamer, which surprisingly I feel like is very important. We're going to talk about learning the software, OBS. We're going to talk about tech equipment that you might need before you start streaming. We're going to talk about stream rules and mod agreements. We're going to talk about setting up your about panels on Twitch. We're going to talk about other programs that you really should have, like SiriBot, AutoMod, Mixitup, Lumia, and Nightbot, and some others. We're going to talk about channel points and alerts and how to set those up. We're going to talk about widgets. We're going to talk about how people can come into your channel and collect dailies. We're also going to look at end credits that you could roll at the end of your stream. Day 9 is going to talk about multi-streaming and the challenges that you might face when it comes to that. And day 10 is simply some advice and some encouragement to hit go live. Because after learning and covering all of those other things, you're going to be ready to start streaming. Is it possible for me to answer every single question you might have about every single one of these topics? No. Because I don't want to make these videos insanely long. I want to make them practical because I want you to be able to sit down after you've worked your 40-hour work week and not be too overwhelmed to want to even start. So I'm going to try to be as concise as possible, keep them a reasonable length. And obviously, if anyone has any questions, please comment them down below. And maybe I could create a whole nother video just to talk about that specific thing. Something that I will not be covering in this series is Discord. I personally know nothing about Discord. I have a lovely Discord server for my stream and my community. I did not set that up. My incredible brother-in-law did that for me, and I didn't have to worry or learn anything. I'm sure that there are some other content creators out there who have created some awesome tutorials on how to get a Discord server set up, but I will not be covering that here in this series. And you may have stumbled across this video and you're like,
Who is this girl? What are her credentials? How do I know she knows what she's talking about?
and at the end of the day, you don't really. But some things about me, I've been streaming on Twitch for almost 2 years, somewhere between 1.5 years and 2 years. I'm partnered. Right now I have an average of about 86 viewers. Obviously that fluctuates, it goes up and it goes down. And I have roughly about 6,000 followers in the 1.5 years that I've been streaming. But I will say everyone's streaming journey looks different, and I got very lucky that I have made those milestones already. But don't let someone on the internet saying, oh, I've been streaming for 1.5 years and I'm already partnered and I have 6,000 followers. Don't let that discourage you at all. I'm only saying that to give you any sort of credential that I may have to make me qualified to talk about these things. The last part of any credentials that I might have is I have an incredible community that shows up every day for some odd reason. And my journey as a streamer has been so beautiful and messy in its own ways. And I feel like I've learned a lot. And I think it's finally time to share some of the things that I've learned with everyone else. And that being said, we're about to jump right in with day 1 because we don't do shenanigans around here. We're getting down to business. So welcome to day 1 of my 10-part video series, Streaming 101, Start Streaming in 10 Days. Day 1, building your brand. I will say, this is something that I think is pretty important. Can you do this later, after you've already started streaming? Absolutely. Can you change this later, after you've started streaming? Absolutely. But it's something that I think would benefit you to take the time to nail down first before you jump into streaming, so that it's one less thing that you have to worry about later on down the road. Now, what is a brand? So a brand is, in regards to a streamer, a brand is kind of like your theme, your theming. It's a color scheme, it's specific fonts, it's maybe a specific mascot or animal that's associated with you as a streamer or with your channel. And for the rest of this video, I'm gonna make myself small and we're gonna hop into Canva and we're gonna take a look at what this practically means and the easiest way for you to create all of these things yourself and not have to pay someone for them. I also wanna take a moment to say, if you have the opportunity and you have the resources, aka the money, I would always highly suggest supporting small artists. There's a lot of beautiful templates on Etsy. But if you're not willing to spend the money up front, which I know a lot of people aren't when they first start streaming, I'm gonna show you how to do a lot of this stuff for free on Canva. So here we are, we're jumping right in. What does building your brand, or what does your brand look like as a streamer? So Usually, and we're going to take a look at examples of this in just a second, but usually what this means is a consistent color scheme, this using the same colors over and over and over again. 2 to 3 consistent fonts, so using the same fonts over and over and over again. And I say consistent because the more you incorporate these colors and these fonts, the more people are going to associate those things with your stream. And having a consistent brand or a consistent theme can really help people when they are perusing your channel or if they're checking out a small snippet of your stream. It really helps define who you are as a streamer and defines your the type of streamer or the kind of category of streamer you fall into. So if all of your theming is very cozy and very comforting and very calming, if that's what someone's looking for in a streamer, just by your theming alone, they're gonna be drawn to you. If you're a more angsty streamer and you play horror games or angsty FPS games, then maybe you want your theme to match that, to be a little more angsty, to be a little more intense. Also, something that can fit into a brand is a logo or mascot. And again, I'll show you what that is for my stream and my community, but this is definitely something that you can have. You don't necessarily have to have, but you can have. And last but not least, I'm gonna show you, sorry, my cat is meowing at me. I'm gonna show you within Canva how it's super easy to either design it yourself from scratch or to use a pre-made one for free that they already have available for you. So we're gonna be looking at some of my streaming stuff. Not to say that it's perfect by any means, but just because this whole series is just me speaking on what I know and what I've learned. And so this is a good example of my theme. This is a font that I chose, and I use every chance I get. This is my little logo right here. I did make this in pieces on Canva, and then downloaded it as one logo that I use on a lot of different things. And this same color scheme, I try to use these 4 to 5 colors as many places as I can. Obviously this is my starting soon screen. This is what used to be my be right back. I have since kind of modified and changed it since this. And then I have a thanks for watching, and they all, ignore that. They all match and they're all a consistent theme and they're all very similar. Now, some other things that you can incorporate your theme into, this is just a border. You actually see it in this video. That's kind of trippy. There's a border around my stream pretty much at all times. And this fits into this consistent theme. A lot of my channel points are in this same font. A lot of them are in this same color and or this yellowy color that I have here. Some of them are have this bluish purple color. And if you ever need to grab a specific color, it's really hard to eyeball that. On Canva, if you're designing any of this in Canva, which we're gonna kind of dive into that. But essentially you can click on whatever the item is that you want to duplicate or replicate the color somewhere else. Every color has a code, or like it's not a code, but like a little text numbery thing that identifies that color. So for example, this color, if I go up here to where my text is, it says text color. On the side here, it opens up this crazy looking menu. If you go to where this color is, it's labeled as light orange. And underneath, you're gonna see that it has this little hashtag numbery thing that might also have some letters in it. Click on this, and then you're gonna have the chance to copy and paste this number. And in other programs like Stream Elements, if you're trying to design something there, or other platforms where you may be designing widgets or editing widgets or what have you, you can copy and paste this number to get the exact same color. And like I said, this is your brand, so really dial in on those colors and try to stick to. Now, can you use other colors? Yes, obviously, absolutely. You're not only limited to these colors when it comes to bits, channel points, all of those things, but The point of a brand is for people to be able to see things and link it to you and identify it to you. So do try to incorporate these in as many different ways as you can. Something else that is a big part of my stream and my theming is my mascot. So this is a little weird. Some people have frogs, some people have wolves, some people have there's lots of different animals to choose from, and it doesn't have to be an animal. It could be more so a logo than a specific animal, or maybe a specific little character that you've created more so than an animal. But this, we call him Mortimer. It's a little cat lamp that has been in the background of my streams ever since I started streaming. My brother named him Mortimer, and it stuck. And everyone loves Mort, and I went so far as to do my dailies. When people stop into your stream, they have the ability to check in with some sort of daily thing that they're collecting. It's usually a channel point. You spend 1 channel point and you collect daily somethings. So for my channel, they collect Morts. Some people have a whole army of 200 Morts at this point. And I use Mort in emotes that I have. I use Mort in channel points. For example, this channel point looks pretty normal, but when you do this, there's a channel point redeemed for good morning, but instead of good morning, it says good morning, and it just has a little Mort that makes an appearance. So that's an example of a channel point. Like I said, I also have emotes of Mort doing different activities or feeling different emotions for people to use in my channel as well. Something else that I want to make sure I say is try not to rush this. I know that this is just start streaming in 10 days, but within those 10 days while you're working on other things, check back in after you've already kind of designed it. Check back in and make sure you really, really like what you've decided that your theme or your brand is going to be, because like I've been saying, these things are going to be everywhere on your stream and in your channel. So really take your time and make sure that you love it. Now, can you go back and change this later once you've already been streaming? Absolutely, there's nothing wrong with rebranding. But if you really take the time to nail it down initially, it's just gonna save you that time and effort later on. And maybe you start streaming with one aesthetic and you realize that you're gradually moving towards a different aesthetic. Maybe that would be a good time to rebrand and to take the time to redo all of those things. But I think that this is something that can easily be missed or skipped when it comes to starting to stream. And I feel like this is something that really helped me when I started streaming on Twitch, was just having a very clear, established aesthetic, brand, whatever you want to refer to it as. And then the last thing that we're going to talk about is how you can use Canva pretty darn easily to create your brand for yourself. So all throughout this series, we're going to be using a program called Canva. I've already been talking about it. It's essentially a website or an application that you can get on a PC or phone. And I swear by Canva. If you're any sort of content creator or streamer and you're not familiar with Canva, get familiar with it, because it is going to be a super, super, super useful tool for you all throughout this process. It looks a little crazy right now, but hear me out. We have a lot of projects with my shared Canva account with me and my husband, and we just have like some of his music stuff, like music that hasn't come out yet, and things like that on there. So I'm kind of hiding that, and you can only see the top part of Canva. But essentially when you load into Canva, also I want to preface by saying, I know I'm talking really fast, sorry. I just don't want this video to be super, super long for you guys. I want to preface this by saying I do have Canva Pro. I don't think it's necessary to have Canva Pro. There are a lot of free tools for you to use on Canva. I believe Canva is, I don't know, $12, $13 a month for Pro. But like I said, there is a free version. Highly suggest getting to know Canva before agreeing to pay for it. But if you find yourself using Canva every day, working on all of this stuff, might be worth it even for just a month or two. So on the left-hand side, there is a button that says templates. You're gonna click on that and you can see that it says inspired by your designs, and there's already some cutie patootie little starting soon screens. But here under templates, you can literally just search starting soon. Hey, so that's really embarrassing. I scrolled all the way back up to the top and Did I, when I first started streaming, go with one of these pre-made ones? I did. Have I changed it since then? No, I haven't, because I haven't rebranded at all. But hey, whatever works, works. But here under templates, you can literally just search starting soon. And it's gonna pull up all kinds of beautifully designed, pre-made templates that are available for you to click on, tweak, edit, use, however you like. Now, I don't know, like I said, some of these might be premium ones depending on what kinds of features they have. But I think you can tell by when you hover over them, there's like a little crown in the bottom. It's really small, but there's a little crown in the bottom right hand corner that will tell you whether it has premium features that you're not necessarily going to be able to use. But as you can see, there are a lot of them on here that don't have that, and those are fair game. So anyways, let's say that you want to use one of these. Let's go ahead and go with, I don't know, one of them that seems really cute. I think this one is really cute, so let's go ahead and click on this one as an example. You can go ahead and click on this. You can open it up by clicking customize this template. You can open it up and you're going to be able to edit whatever it says. You can change the text. You can change your socials here at the bottom. And I could do a whole separate video on just a Canva specific tutorial on how to do lots of different things inside of Canva. And maybe I will make that in the future moving forward. But there's a lot to do in Canva and a lot to learn. There are already some tutorials for Canva out there on the internet, but essentially almost every single piece of this starting soon screen, you would be able to customize and really make it your own. You could move things around. Let's say I want this to be in the middle instead of on the side. I can move it over here. I can center this. I could move these little guys to be kind of closer to here. And then we could move this. And maybe I'd want to move those socials around too, because now it looks a little lopsided, but you get the point. You can really customize this to be whatever you want. You could even probably edit some of these colors as well, if you didn't like one of the colors that was being used here. So this is the easiest way to get free starting soon, cutie patootie little starting soon, or if you are not into cozy gaming and you would like more of an angsty aesthetic. Let's see, this one is not bad. This one is a little more intense. It's really fun. It's a little more angsty if you are not necessarily a cozy gamer, but you play more games like FPS games or maybe even horror games or something like that. Like I said, you kind of want all of your aesthetic things, your brand, to match what type of gamer you are. If you're a variety gamer, hey, all bets are off. You can kind of have free reign with that. But if you have a niche of specific games that you know you're going to play a lot of on stream, try to kind of match your brand to that. Something else that's really cool about Canva when it comes to building your brand and making these decisions is that they actually have a feature for Canva Pro users. Again, this is something that if you decide later down the road, you know what, I'm using Canva a lot, it might be worth it to just pay for it for a few months while you're going through the process of designing all of these things and getting this out of the way. There's a tab on the left-hand side of your screen that actually says brand. And this is going to be a really cool place for you to keep track of the exact colors that you're using, the exact fonts that you're using, and so on and so forth. This font is actually not correct for mine, but this color palette includes a lot of the colors that I've been using, more so just these first four for this stuff. For other content creation, I've been using these ones. So it's really nice to just have these on standby. You can click through, there's a place to see your logo and upload a logo or multiple logos. There's a place to add your color palette. There's a place to save your fonts so that you can keep track. And if you ever forget what font it was, sure, you could copy and paste, or you could go here and see what exact font you were using. And there's some other options there as well, but this is just a really tidy place for you to keep track of all of these things and be able to utilize them in a lot of different designs that you're doing. For example, if I really liked this starting soon screen, but I had already decided on different colors for my brand, just for the sake of this, I'm gonna go ahead and take out these brown colors. I can always re-add them later. And these are kind of my core colors. They have a really cool option to shuffle. So I could take this design and I could shuffle these colors and get some really fun designs that match the color scheme that I had already decided on. These are actually not very cute along with this color scheme, but you get the idea. So if you are someone who's a bit more creative and you're like, those are cute, but I really want to customize it and really make it my own, the other option is from your home page on Canva, you can click this presentation, create new, and it's essentially going to open up a blank template for you to do whatever you want with. If you already know about a specific aesthetic that you are looking for, I tend to try to stay away from photos, and I try to hang out mostly in my Elements tab. So you could search for dreamy clouds, and it's gonna give you some really beautiful stuff. These little clouds are really cute. So you could immediately start kind of building your scene from scratch here if you would like to. Then I could go pastel background and I could find something like this. Ooh, this is actually a video, which is kind of cute. I don't know why it looks such bad quality. I'm gonna click position and I'm going through this super fast. Canva will take a little bit of learning. It might be a little bit of a learning curve at first. But like I said, you can use Canva for a lot of things, and it's gonna be your best friend. So take a little bit of time and try to get to know this program because it's gonna be super helpful for you. So already, you've got like a cute little theme going here, and you can kind of build off of this, add some text, add your socials, add whatever it is that you want to add. However, I do want to say that less is more. These templates, a lot of them have, some of them are a little bit busy, but a lot of them essentially have a background, text, and maybe a few other elements. Overall, you probably would like to keep your aesthetic simple, clean, and concise. I guess the word that I'm looking for is concise. You don't want to try to incorporate too many colors into your theme, or too many different fonts, or too many different little items into your theme, because that can get really busy and really overwhelming very quickly. So try to stick to 2 to 3 fonts that you use consistently. I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 colors for your color scheme. And like I said, try to be as consistent as you can. Use these over and over and over again. And like I said earlier, really take your time because this brand is going to be everywhere. Something else that I haven't mentioned yet that I think is noteworthy, take time to think about what your username is going to be. This is always something that you can change later down the road as well, but putting some time and effort into thinking about this now, again, could save you some time later on down the road. Ideally, a username like Keith87972 is not going to be a super catchy, memorable username if people stop into your stream. So when it comes to usernames, try to think of something unique, try to think of something that isn't super generic. At the end of the day, when people stop into your stream, you want them to be able to remember you and come back later. So do put some time and effort into thinking about what your username for the foreseeable future is going to be as well. In theory, it should all tie in with your theme. So, friends, I know that I just flew through a lot of information, but again, I want these videos to not consume your whole evening, but teach you what you need to know. Feel free to go back and rewind and watch again throughout this series. Today, it was more so information than anything else. But on days when things get a little more technical, like following along in OBS, those days you might need to pause, rewind, watch it over again. But thank you so much for tuning in to day 1 of our 10-part video series, Streaming 101, Start Streaming in 10 Days. I'll see you guys for day 2, where we are jumping feet first into learning OBS and the other streaming softwares available. So be sure to tune in for that. I hope to see you guys back for day 2. And I'm so excited to go on this journey along with you guys and hopefully help teach you something or get you ready for the world of streaming. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!